Community Media.
And we're back. Right, so this podcast essentially is just an overview of what we've done in the previous weeks at the Community Media Cafe down on Bishop Street. So, start the ball rolling, week 1.
Andy. A podcast with Andy.
Yeah, so we sat down and had a chat with Andy.
Yeah.
Told us about his sort of run-ins with people in the communities that he experienced. Told us about his time at British Telecom and how he bumped into a bit of a funny customer and how he overcame that situation. So it's nice to see how he dealt with it, sort of thing.
Yeah, and we spoke to John's mum as well. I still can't remember her name. That's the problem.
Bless her.
I did mention that in my blog. I
Yeah.
can't remember her name. Apologies. Yeah, she had a few things to say about the NHS, didn't she?
Yeah,
She wasn't best pleased.
Yeah, well, that's telling us stories about A&E and overcrowdedness and stuff like that.
How it's not the fault of the old people, it's the government's fault, all that sort of.
Interesting take on it.
Yeah.
We'll have to see if we can sort that edit out. The audio wasn't the best, so apologies for that. If you were expecting it in the podcast, but yeah, it was cafe was booming that day, mate.
Nowhere near the
Busy
mic.
first time, yeah, literally.
Yeah.
Busy first time. It's nice to get stuck in. So
Yeah.
then week 2.
Week 2. I missed week 2.
Week 2, right? So week 2 was
Holocaust week.
Holocaust week, yeah, absolutely. And I, again, terrible with names. Forget the name of the two gentlemen I sat down with. I believe one was Julian.
Yeah, I think that was it. 'Cause I think he was there afterwards.
Not 100%, but yeah, Julian. So, and there was another guy as well. Again, terrible with names. Can't remember, but we ended up talking about. He had a lot of stats and opinions and facts, I would say, on sort of hate crimes and things like that, and he was big into sort of research for it, but these guys sort of bounced off each other quite nicely. And then Julius, I remember, was saying about it got onto the topic of sort of propaganda and people's views on certain ethnic groups, if you will. So I remember him saying about a picture that was posted. It was almost like a piece of propaganda, if you will, from back in the sort of Nazi era, as it were. And I think you got it on the phone just there, right?
Yeah,
So
rats and
so it's just sort of a comic book, cartoony sort
black and white, so yeah, cartoon characters. Okay.
And so it's
Rats running through. Which one we look at? Which one are you talking about? It was
yeah. So if we roll with that first one, obviously you guys can't see that, but we'll attach it into the blogs. But it was just really how they sort of replicated a piece of propaganda from the 40s and actually published it in the Daily Mail.
Yeah, showing migrants entering Europe, people that were visibly Muslim, carrying rifles, and rats as well.
So the same sort of depiction of what the Nazis used to sort of depict the Jews was the rats, and obviously that's been incorporated again into this sort of more modern one, which was posted in the Daily Mail. Yeah, so yeah, people are not best pleased with that, and I can understand why. I mean, it's not exactly the nicest outlook, but every figure in there is portrayed with sort of like a big beard or militant headgear, and it looks as if one's even sort of carrying a gun on its back.
It's strange how like here they were being blocked off,
right?
As in they couldn't get into Europe or our country or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And here it's now they're using it again, but this time we're letting them in. It's like, oh, now it's like they're still using the same thing.
Yes,
It's
exactly.
like, oh no, but now we are, but they're still calling them rats.
And they're still saying
So yes,
terrorists.
it's like they are
yeah.
rats, but yeah, we're letting them in now.
Yeah,
That's what it looks like. I think that's why they're pissed about it.
yeah.
Rather than not even have them as rats in general.
Well, I mean, yeah, but it's
Yeah.
it's a piece of history. I mean, obviously Julian felt quite strongly about it, obviously because he's a Jewish man. So, but yeah, we're trying to stitch these pictures into the podcast if ever we can, and then you guys can take a look at them too. But you guys makes me like I'm on the radio. But yeah, so that was interesting. I mean, again, really unlucky with the podcast situation. I just didn't get the mic out quick enough to actually get any decent snaps of the conversation. Really interesting guys, though. They're just, really interesting. I mean, I wish I could remember more. I should have took notes, but I was so engrossed in the conversation, and you're just hooked, and it's just. I didn't have anything intelligent to say at the time, so I just sort of sat back and
it's hard to chime in when they know.
Yeah, but it was,
and
and because I felt like they knew each other, they were really just,
Yeah.
And it was interesting. So moving on, week 3. What happened in
Week 3?
Week 3, I missed week 3. I believe.
I'm not sure what the theme was.
Right.
But I do know that John set up a table for 2 people from some sort of mental health organisation.
Was it the Mental Awareness Week or Mental Health Awareness
It
Week?
might have been. To be fair, that would make sense.
Yeah. I kind of feel like it was.
Anyway, so me, Fabio, Ayana, and Samson went to go talk to them. To be fair, John only asked for one of us, but we all bloody went.
Yeah.
It was quite good actually, because they were trying to raise awareness and think of ways how to do that. And that's why it was we all had different opinions on certain things, and it was mad to see how many of them sort of knew people with mental health issues,
right,
or like worse,
yeah,
suicide and shit like that. It was weird to see how many people had known that, even in that small group.
Really,
and
it's so well. There's
and that was just a brief conversation anyway.
Stats behind suicide and that sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? And Rob even mentioned in one of his lectures actually about the sort of the age range and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But how are they sort of looking to spread the word, as it were? Like, how do you?
Well, that's the problem. They're trying to do this whole thing. Break the stigma and all this.
Right.
But what I was trying to say to them is that people don't even admit to themselves that they have it. So how can they tell someone else that they do?
Yeah, of course.
How can you break the stigma of something like because if you're telling someone, oh, don't worry, it doesn't make you weak, it doesn't make you this, it doesn't make whatever, but then this person is like, okay, fair play, I believe you, but I don't have it.
Right. Yeah.
But they do.
But because they're going to tell themselves no.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolute mind games, isn't it? But
Cause that's the stubbornness of men of that age and that. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely, yeah. Especially in that category of the highest sort of rates. Yeah, absolutely. You're always going to put on the front, though, aren't you, in that sort of situation?
Yeah.
And like, you're gonna go to the doctors on the happy days and be like, yeah, I'm absolutely
fine.
Fine.
It's a good morning.
He doesn't see the other day, but I mean, it's a nice thing that what they're doing. Trying to, because a lot of people.
Yeah, that's what they're doing. But I think they heard what we all said, and they took it away. I think. I like to think that because we
felt quite productive in that sense.
Yeah, and then when they left, because they left quite early.
Right.
We all just sat there like, fuck it. Well, that was a bit much for a morning.
Yeah, a bit of a
yeah. There you go.
Heavy on.
Good morning, yeah.
Yeah, you're in.
But it was good. It was good to talk about that stuff anyway.
So then, week
3,
4. Like me now, memory's shot. Week 4, yeah.
Your chat with Inika.
Yeah, so I got in there sort of fairly early with Inika. I just sort of set up, and then John was like, "Yeah, have you two met yet?" No. So we got talking, and Inika obviously has. I say obviously for those that don't know, Inika has a visual impairment. And so she has a different perception on the world, if you will, to more able-bodied people. Trying not to.
It's strange to see how much she can't see.
Right. Yeah.
Do you mean when she was describing it?
Yeah, when we said that.
How do you get by with that? But
yeah,
fair play.
I mean, and her vice as well is just sort of writing blogs and now it's turned into paid work, so that can't be a bad thing. But most importantly, she was just telling us that it was a vice for ranting at the world for not being. Okay, I might have painted that a bad picture of ranting at the world, but you know what I mean, sort of just putting it out there on like how things could be made easier for herself, but aren't, things that should already be in place that aren't in place, sort of thing.
Yeah, like a good outlet for herself, for her thoughts, for her.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah, and so she uses the
word. She was a fucking magnet, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And to be fair, she did even say she does like to have a good.
Yeah, exactly. She said that herself.
Yeah. So that was interesting. I spent a lot of time with Inika because she had a lot of things to say, so it was good. And then obviously we
have some recording from that. But that was it for that week, right?
Yeah. I'm just trying to think back.
Brings through to this week.
So this week's been quite busy, really.
Yeah, Radio Week, was it? UK Radio Day.
Yeah, UK Radio Day. So started off the ball rolling with Monday, the radio show.
Monday we were on the radio anyway. Coincidentally, in time for Radio Week for that week.
So that was spot on, Demon FM.
Managed to use the slot to give a shout out to the cafe.
To get a bit more sort of publicity down there,
raise awareness a bit.
That's good. Had a bit of a chat about that.
So that helped.
And then there was the Cafe Tuesday anyway.
We went to the cafe, yeah.
Little bit of a lesser turnout. But
small turnout.
Nevertheless, not a problem.
The people we had already spoke to previously probably felt as though they didn't need to be or want to come back
sure.
to say the same stuff.
Yeah, I figured that as well.
And the new people, if you will, were taken up by other people. So it's that sort of.
In fairness, I did rock
So we
a
just-
bit late.
So we just did some drawing
I
with
did.
Josh, didn't
Yeah, that was interesting. So Josh is a massive comic fan, I believe.
we? You wouldn't believe it.
You wouldn't believe. So, yeah, Josh has been getting involved with a thing that Ben had been promoting.
The drawing
Centre, right?
The drawing centre, yeah, that we can go to. Yeah.
So Josh had we all know that Josh, likes his comics, and he'd come over today and he was trying to draw anatomy, the human anatomy, evolving around comic books and superheroes, I still believe, but
I imagine.
nevertheless trying to further the talent.
Yeah. So then we all dive in.
So
You
yeah,
asked
we
for
all,
a bit of paper, and then I thought I'd on the back. Of the
yeah,
sheet.
I thought so. I'm going in. Had a bit of a doodle, got a bit creative, which was good. And Andrew, when did we look around that drawing centre?
That was
The new one.
a week. Last Monday.
I mean, looking at it, not a
Last
bad
Friday.
space. You know, I mean,
I'd use it.
nice and tidy. They got some good gear in there, and the guy that set it up it's all his own.
Yeah.
So fair play
Did it
for
on the
that.
sheet.
Yeah,
Pennies under the projector.
that's it,
Nice
innit?
touch.
14p.
He'd rehearsed that bit.
yeah, he's definitely. Yeah.
He's used that
How's the
joke
intro
before.
gonna go? Yeah, boom.
Yeah.
Here it is.
And then we went to the podcast with Rob and John and Ben.
At the Queen's Building, yeah. And I just sit down with what was it?
Jay.
Jay,
Jay
another,
was
another
there as
lad
well.
there. Yeah, that was
Well, the talk was initially meant to be about sport, wasn't it?
for National Radio Day. Yeah,
Sport and National Radio Day, yeah.
predominantly sport
what
on the radio.
That's what it started with.
Yeah.
Sort of diverted into radio podcasts.